They think you need to be like a professional writer in order to blog, and I hope I'm going to show you today that that's absolutely not the case, that you don't have to do that. So I was going to do a little bit about my background, but we're running over, so I'm not going to do that. And what I'm going to do is share a presentation with you. I'll just get that brought up. Hopefully Zoom's not going to let me down. I was having Wi-Fi problems yesterday. Anyone on Virgin Media probably have the same problems actually. So hopefully this is all going to work. Right, here we go. All right, so you should be able to see a presentation now that says blogging works, hopefully. Cool, all right. So a little bit about blogging. So this is the agenda that I'm going to go through. And in this agenda, I'm going to answer 2 of the most frequently asked questions that I get given when I talk to anybody, you know, my SEO clients, my copywriting clients, about why they should be blogging. So I'm going to talk about why blogging is important in the first place. The first question I get asked is, I don't know what to blog about, help me find what to blog about. So I'm going to show you where you can find ideas for your blogging. And it's actually really, really easy to find ideas if you know where to look. And I'm going to demonstrate. Well, I was hoping to demonstrate some online tools, but I'm a bit worried about the Wi-Fi connection, and I don't think we're going to have time. So what I've done is I've just done a load of screenshots to sort of stimulate the tools. The first one's being a headline generator, because headlines are really, really important. Then a tool to analyze the strength of your headline once you've chosen a headline. Then I'm going to give you some really, really basic copywriting tips. And not doing myself a disservice here, you don't need to be a professional copywriter to write well. And I'm just going to sort of give you a few basic tips that's going to help you sort of get going with writing and actually constructing a blog that's really compelling and really interesting for your target audience. Now, the second question I get asked most often is how long a blog should be. And I'm going to answer that question very definitively, and the answer may surprise you as well. And then we'll just do a quick recap because I'm going to be sharing an awful lot of information with you. So why blog? Now, blogging is all about making yourself more visible to your target audience on Google. Now, the way Google and the way all search engines work is basically, just think of them as being like, you know, the biggest filing cabinet in the world, the biggest filing system in the world. Now, Google has something called an index. And basically what that means is that it's crawling around. Is it how many billion websites there are in the world? It spends all day and every day crawling around all those websites looking for new information. And when it finds new information, it files that information away in its index. So imagine that's just like a giant filing cabinet, if you like. And when someone goes onto Google and searches for information on a topic, what Google is doing is having a look through that index to find the pages that answer that question. Now, once you've understood that concept, the reason to write blogs suddenly starts to make sense, because what Google is looking for is new, fresh content, new, fresh information. And the easiest way for you to make sure that you're not only getting into that filing cabinet and that index in the first place, but also staying there, is constantly creating new, fresh content. And the easiest and quickest way to create new, fresh content is to write blogs. Now, the concept of blogging, I'm going to sort of go on and explain a little more about. This is about the Google's EAT principle. Now, EAT stands for expertise, authority, and trust. So when you write new content that gets into Google's index, and they're trawling through all that content to answer someone's search query, they're looking for people with expertise, they're looking for people with authority, and they're looking for people with who can be trusted. So they're not spammers and they're not scammers, for example. Now, how they assess that is, 20 minutes is not, 20 years isn't long enough to explain how Google assess that in terms of content. But basically, what you're going to use your blogs for is to enhance your reputation as being an expert on your subject, being the authority on your subject, and that people can trust you on that subject. So that's why I always encourage people to write blogs. So Most people have websites. There's a limit to what you can put on your website, unless you have an e-com store where you're constantly creating and providing new products. There's only so much information you can put on your website that's going to be new and that's going to be fresh and meet Google's requirement for new, fresh content. So what do? You write a blog. That's basically where blogging fits in with Google. Now, a blog will allow you to showcase and basically just show off your expertise. So this is all about your brand, your personality, your brand values, as I said, your expertise and your credibility. It can be about your passions and your interests and your skills. It doesn't always have to be about your business. The 80-20 rule works in blogging as much as it does anywhere else. So it allows you to promote yourself in a non-salesy way. You can just kind of switch off from being a salesperson just for a few minutes while you're writing your blog, because what you're doing is you're sharing your passion for your business through your blog. You can educate and inform your market as well. So you can talk about, why you do what you do, why your products are like they are, or why your propositions are like they are, and sort of how you almost came to be the kind of person that you are. So when you blog, it improves your chances of being found on Google. It increases traffic to your site, which improves your authority on Google. It builds trust with your readers, and eventually it generates more leads and sales. Because what will happen is that your reputation as being a knowledgeable person and a trustworthy person will grow, and that way you will get more sales and leads without overtly selling through your blog. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, first question I always get asked, and the first thing people say to me when I suggest that they do blogging is, I don't know what to blog about. Where do I find my ideas? Well, basically, the answer is really, really simple. Just look around you. Look at what other people are doing. Look at your competitors. Sign up to their newsletters. Sign up to their updates and just see what they are talking about. And that kind of prompts ideas for blogging topics for you. But one thing I will say, please do not plagiarize. Don't just take their content, copy and paste it and make it into a blog, because you could get into all kinds of trouble that way. Set up Google alerts for your target market, for your business, for your products, for your competitors. So you can get a daily email with everything that's been put that Google has found that day to do with the subject that you want an alert on. And quite often you get lots of prompts that way about, well, this is the sort of thing that people are looking for, so I can write a blog on this subject. Look on social media. One of my favorite tricks is that I will sit there eating my breakfast in the morning, scrolling through Facebook. And if I see something really interesting that sounds like it could make a good idea for a blog, I just save it. And then I just go back to my saved file on Facebook on a regular basis. And when I get time, and say, all right, so what in here it looks like people are talking about now, therefore I should be writing a blog about this right now. Now, and the next biggest trick is to find out directly what are your customers asking on Google. And this is the first tool that I'm going to share with you, and it's absolutely free. And it's this rather charming but somewhat intimidating gentleman here. And the tool is called Answer the Public. And this is the link, answerthepublic.com. And basically, it is a free tool for finding blog ideas. And you enter a maximum 4-word phrase into the tool, you hit the button, and you get a result back. And I'm just going to not demonstrate, but show you a screenshot of the result. I say it's free, but they do put a cap on your daily usage, and they do put a cap on the number of people using the same IP address. And the cap is around 6 searches a day. So just beware of that before you start. It doesn't mean you can't carry on using it the next day. It's just that if you're doing lots of searches in one day, it will stop you and ask you to upgrade. And the actual cost of this tool is something like $90 a month, so it's not cheap. So just beware of the free cap. Right. So what you do is basically you enter a keyword search phrase into this box here. Here's a subject that's very close to my heart, designer handbags. And you enter that in and you hit search. And this is what you get sent back. And I'm absolutely fascinated by the way that they present their information on this tool. Because basically, if you can have a look, have a read around here, These are all the questions that people are typing into Google right now on the subject of designer handbags. Okay, so and it also gives you different ways of viewing the information. So the green dots here, the darker the dot, the more popular that question is. So when it comes to people using things like Siri and Alexa, you know, they're asking entire questions rather than just being a bit lazy about what they're typing in. So if you were a seller of designer handbags or a blogger about designer handbags, if you look at here, you've got when to buy designer handbags, can you pawn designer handbags, how designer handbags are made, what designer handbags are hot right now. If that doesn't give you loads of ideas for blogging subjects, then you're not paying attention, basically. So that's what you can do with this tool. And it's called, excuse me, answerthepublic.com. Now, so once you've chosen a blog subject or a whole series of subjects, the next thing to do is to start thinking about your headlines. Now, this is another free tool. It's from a company called The Hoth. When you work in SEO, you kind of have to get used to having people having really quirky names and quirky brand names. And this is no exception. They're called The Hoth. And they have something called a free headline generator. So this is the link here, hoth.com/headline-generator. And the way it works is this. Basically, it asks you a series of questions. And it says, so enter a keyword relevant to your website to get content ideas, enter a desired outcome that the audience may be searching for, enter a problem that is common for your target audience, enter the name of your industry, and enter the name of your target audience. So it allows you to drill down in quite a lot of granularity about what sort of headline will really resonate with your target audience. So here's one I made earlier. So when I was thinking about this presentation today, I said, well, my relevant keyword is blogging. The desired outcome is that, well, I actually want people to sign up for my course on blogging. So enter a problem that is common. Biggest question I get asked, where do I get ideas from? So that generating ideas. The name of my industry is, well, I'm in the marketing industry. And the name of my target audience is you guys today. So that is business owners. So you type all that in and you click generate headline ideas. And it gives you back 10 headlines straight away of various types. Some of these are slightly iffy, like this one, the insert well-known industry expert way to solve idea generation. That's a bit funny. 16 steps to successful blogging, most important steps to solve idea generation, 20 blogging lessons that pay. So you get lots of kind of nice, kind of upbeat, really clickable headlines generated as a result of this tool. So the next thing to do is to pick a headline and then find out how strong it is. So I'm pick this first one here, 18 blogging tactics that will help you win in 2020. Now for me, as an SEO person, that ticks all kinds of SEO boxes for me. So that's why I picked this as a headline to analyze. And the next tool, which is a free tool, which is CoSchedule's Headline Analyzer. The first time you sign up for this, you're going to need to enter your name and your company details. But once you've done that, you can use it as often as you like. And there's no cap and it's all free. And basically, you enter your headline in here. This is the front page of the website. You enter a headline in here and you click Analyze Now. And it will score your headline and break down your headline and give it a score up to 100. And in order to get a really good score, you need to aim for a score of 70 plus. So what I do is I enter my headline in there, 18 blogging tactics that will help you win in 2020, and I got a score of 73. So for me, that is pretty much a near perfect headline. I got over 70 for it. And what you get in this tool is a breakdown of the word balance in your headline. And it's analysis of the overall structure, the grammar, and the readability of your headline. And for readability, I would also say clickability as well. And it says I've got common words in there. I don't have any uncommon words in there, but it hasn't really affected the overall score. Some emotional words and some power words. And that's a really, really useful tool. Right, so you've got your headline. You've chosen your blog topic. You've got a headline. What happens next? You have to write the blog. Sorry, no way of getting away from it. You have to write that blog. But I'm going to give you some copywriting tips. So you don't have to be a professional copywriter to write a really good blog, mostly because you are the expert. You are the authority on your business. You are the authority on your industry. Debbie, I'm just keeping an eye on the time. I make it 10:57. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll keep an eye, and then we'll stop at 11. We'll stop.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I've got about another 5-6 minutes,
yeah,
so just
people
let me know.
Questions anyway, so we'll stop at 11. Yeah, no worries.
Okay, all right. So first copywriting tip is using keywords in your heading and subheadings. Keywords is a whole other 20-minute presentation on its own, but basically these are the generic words that if someone was looking for a business like yours, but they don't know the name of that business, or they don't know the actual brand name of your product, for example, or your proposition, what do they type into Google? Okay, now at the end of the presentation, I'll show you how you can do some more work on keywords, but the keywords have to be in your heading. And if you remember, when I was doing that headline generator, my keyword was blogging. So that is now in my heading, okay? I use active voice, and I'm going to come on to explain this in a little bit more detail in a minute, but active voice is me talking to you. It's not someone else talking to someone else. It's me directly addressing you as my target audience. Tell a story. Now, this is something I get a little bit of pushback with my sort of B2B clients, the people who work sort of very high level in business to business, is that you shouldn't use emotion when you're writing blogs. But, you know, we're all human beings. And
rain all day today.
Are we there? Is it 11 o'clock, Debbie? No? Okay, all right. Check for clarity. So it kind of goes with active voice, is that you should avoid using jargon unless you're writing an academic paper or a white paper or a very, very high level business proposal. Please just avoid using jargon. It doesn't make you look big or clever. It just makes you look complicated and confusing. But I'm going to go on to explain that. And for goodness sake, please check your spelling and grammar. You know, if it's meant to be Y-O-U-R-E instead of Y-O-U-R, please just get it right. But I've got a little tool that's going to help you with that as well. So keywords, as I said, these are the words that, if it's a generic word, a non-branded word, that are what the words that people are typing into Google when they're looking for a business like yours. You have to find them out. And right at the end, I'm going to explain to you exactly how you can find these keywords. Okay. Use active voice. This is the difference between passive voice and active voice. So here's a statement. If you set it in passive voice, the software can be installed at any point in the process. Okay. The active version of that is you can install our software at any point in the process. The main difference between active voice and passive voice is the use of a pronoun. Okay. This is me talking directly to you. That means you are really engaged with that message and you can understand that message. Debbie, I think it's 11 o'clock.
10:59 at the moment.
Yeah.
My phone. But let's stop anyway and we'll come back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Just to let everybody know, we're observing the 1 minute silence for the NHS workers who've lost their lives during the coronavirus. Thank you, everybody. Back to you, Helen.
All right, am I unmuted? Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, where were we? So the difference between passive voice and active voice. So one of the key things you can do is you make sure that in order to make your copy an active voice, use pronouns. That's the easiest thing to do. But copywriters have a little trick we use called the zombie test. Okay. If you write a sentence and you're not sure whether it's in active voice or passive voice, if you can put the words "by zombies" at the end of that sentence and it still makes sense, then it's passive. So if we take this first example here, the software can be installed at any point in the process by zombies. Grammatically, it still makes perfect sense, but the fact that it does make sense means that that is a passive sentence. You couldn't use it in the second version of that sentence. You can install our software at any point in the process. You put "by zombies" on the end there, it wouldn't make sense. So it's just a little trick that we use, that if we're not sure if we're writing in active voice or passive voice, if you can put "by zombies" at the end, then you are writing in passive voice and you need to go back and revise it. Okay. Next thing is about sort of telling a story. So it's your kind of business-minded equivalent of once upon a time. So, you know, you can start off your blog saying, well, imagine this. What about if this happens? You know how it feels when. Here's something interesting I learned. You know, it's just the whole thing about engaging people right from the very first sentence by saying, right, I'm going to tell you a story. People love stories. They're engaging, they're entertaining, they're compelling, they follow a particular structure as well. And it's a really good way to sort of get your message across and sort of, you know, just share your expertise with people by telling them a story. So make statements that are relevant to the reader, which again goes back to your keywords. So talking about the problem that you solve, that amuses them and entertains them. Make it a one-to-one dialogue with the reader. Don't sit there imagining that you're talking to a cast of thousands of people. Just have your ideal reader in your mind's eye and just imagine that you're having a conversation with them and you're talking to them. And then you're just narrating the story to them. So that's a really sort of clear and simple structure for you to use. It helps you maintain the interest and it helps you stick to what's important as well. So really good tool to see that you're checking for clarity in your reading is this last tool here. Is called the Hemingway app. That's the link there, hemingwayapp.com. Basically what you do is you cut and paste a piece of text into the website here, basically, and then it sort of highlights where you could make improvements, and basically you just hover your mouse over all of those. It's broken down your text over here. It shows you, sort of explains to you why it's highlighted a particular sentence, for example. So with this one here, it's saying this first sentence is hard to read. That's a use of passive voice here, so take a look at that. There's a simpler version of this word here that you can use, and this sentence here is very hard to read. When people are reading things on a screen, they don't read things in chronological order. Their eyes tend to kind of jump around a little bit. So this is a really good app to use that sort of shows you how to make your writing a little bit more clearer. And you just cut and paste a piece of text into there and it instantly analyzes it. And again, it's a completely free tool. Now, for goodness sake, please check your spelling and grammar. Best thing to do is to get someone else to read your copy before you hit publish. Please remember, you know, even if you go back and correct it later, a screenshot lives forever. You know, somebody could pick it up. I'm not the sort of person that goes through Facebook and picks people up on their spelling and grammar. What I do is I read something and I think that person's not paying a lot of attention to detail here. Therefore, I'm not interested in anything they've got to say. That's my reaction. But I am a little bit nerdy about sort of spelling and grammar and things. But there is a really, really useful online tool if you are a user of Microsoft Word. Within Microsoft Word, the most recent version, there is a read aloud function, which is like an inbuilt screen reader. And where you find it, so within the Word document, if you look at the bar at the top, you have a review section here. If you click on that, the fourth button along is read aloud. And basically that reads your text back to you on the page. And it's a really useful way of picking up those tiny little errors that, you know, your eye doesn't see, but your ear will hear it. And if something sounds a bit odd, sort of a little bit, you know, jarring to you, this tool will pick it up for you. And personally, when I'm writing copy for anybody, I never send it to anyone until I've put it through this process. And as good as I am, and as a professional copywriter as I am, I still make little errors and mistakes, and this is a good way for me to pick it up. Okay. Now, second most frequently asked question that I ever get asked is, how long should a blog be? And there's a subset to that question is, how often should you post a new one? Okay, brace yourself, guys. The answer is the longer the better. And there's plenty of analysis that demonstrates that long blogs get better traction than shorter blogs. But if you're stretched for time, or you're a beginner, or you're not sure what to do, write a minimum of 300 words. That's the minimum amount of content to get you noticed in that Google index that I talked about right at the beginning. That's what's required for ranking. But 300 words is about 2/3 of the size of A4. You can't actually explore a subject in any depth in 300 words. You know, if you want to do something very brief, that's fine, but it's probably not ideal. So, as I said, loads and loads of analysis on how blogs work. 1,500 words and over, there's analysis that shows that longer blogs of at least 1,500 words, which is 3 sides of A4 in single spacing, are more likely to be read and more likely to be shared. So that's your target, guys. Sorry, but the longer your blog is, the better. That doesn't mean that you ramble on forever and ever, basically, but 1,500 words is about what it takes to share content that has enough authority and enough resonance with your target audience. I'll let you go and have a lie down and think about that one for a little while. Now, weekly posting is best to stay on Google's radar. Now, obviously, not everyone has the wherewithal to write a 1,500 word blog on a weekly basis. So somewhere between the two is probably about right. So the best thing to do, and the best advice I can give you, is to create a schedule for your blogging. So when you go back and do your research, you know, using the tool, something like answerthepublic.com, you could come up with a whole range of different subjects. So basically just create a schedule from all of it and say, well, okay, well, this, you know, week 1, I'm going to choose this subject. Week 2, I'm going to do something else. Week 3, I'll explore it a little bit further. And the way I do it when I create my blogs is that I spend the first 30 minutes of every day working on my next blog. Now, that could be research, that could be looking at keywords, that could be looking at headlines, that could be doing writing, that could be making notes. But basically it means that by the end of the week, I spent a couple of hours working on my next blog. And it's usually in pretty good shape to you know, refine it and get it published. So that's my sort of top kind of productivity tip on there. Okay, now, so that's it from me. So basically, I've written a lot of blogs about every single one of these subjects that I've just shared with you. So I invite you to go and check out my blog. As I said at the beginning, I do 30-minute free consultations for all Mums UnLtd, where we look at your user experience, getting your content. So I just wanted to just share one more thing with you, which is my website. Let's get out of this. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So this is the blog page of my website. So if you have a look on there, basically everything SEO related, blog related, writers related, I have written a blog about. And I'm just scrolling through, just showing you, some of, the blogs that I've done sort of over the last couple of years. So what I've found is that my blogs have got longer and longer the more I've written them, because I've kind of got into the habit of just really exploring the subject matter and really digging into it and providing lots and lots of information, lots of tips, lots of tools. So if you want to enter the blogging competition, you can have a look on here and basically, just learn everything you need to learn in order to create a really good blog. So that is it.
Oh, We've got some questions, Helen, so let me just read them out to you. Louise is asking, is it better to refer I or my business or us or our business in the active form?
The active form, just use pronouns. There's no, there was a little bit of debate a while ago with business owners who are kind of solopreneurs, so sort of one-man band businesses, whether it's best to talk about we, so it makes you look like a bigger business than you actually are, or to be honest and say, this is me, this is my business, this is what I do. And the consensus fell down on just be honest with people. If this is your business is on your own, then talk about, this is me, this is what I do, this is how I work. Just be completely honest about your use of pronouns in there.
Thank you. Does that answer your question, Louise? Sorry, the next one is, oh, sorry. If you don't have a website, oh, God, why is this doing this? Sorry. So I think because other people are putting messages on, so it's flicking.
Yeah, keeps the.
Yeah, sorry. If you don't have a website, do any of the rules? Oh, sorry.
Do any of the rules or guidelines change for social media blogs? Yeah, is that the question? Yeah. No, absolutely not. Keywords are still really important for social media. Having a really good sort of headline or opening sentence that really grabs people, really compels people. The storytelling aspect, the clarity of the writing, the proper spelling and grammar, yeah, applies just as much on social media, articles and blogs as it does on a website or anywhere else.
Louise, you could set up a WordPress blog. You don't need a website to do that. You can set it up as a, let me unmute you. You could set yourself up with a WordPress blog.
Okay. Yeah, if you go to wordpress.org, that's a free site, and basically you just pick a template and start writing and start blogging, and then on your social media you say, I've just written a new blog, go and have a look.
And you don't need a website to do that. You can put images in it and everything.
All right, super.
Right, we did have another couple of questions somewhere. Where are they? Sorry, everyone's.
How important are images to blogs? Absolutely vital. That's one thing I didn't get really a chance to explore in the presentation is, your images break up the text on the page. And as I said, when we read something on a screen, we don't read in chronological order. We kind of, eyes tend to sort of jump around a little bit. So what we're doing is we're looking for anchor points on that screen. Headlines are an anchor point, subheadings are an anchor point as well, and images absolutely are an anchor point. As long as those images are in the context of the content on the page, okay, and they make sense in the context of your blog as well. So don't just bung an image in there just because it's an image and you like it. Select an image that helps tell the story and supports the content and sort of illustrates the content as well.
Anyone else got any other questions? Susan Barrett. Oh.
We're both doing it at the same time. There was a question earlier from someone about a vlog, which I'm interested in as well.
Yeah.
That was from Catherine, yeah.
Oh, Catherine, a vlog. Yeah, so you make videos. What platform do you keep your videos on, Catherine?
They're going onto my website.
On your website? Yeah, absolutely. So, as long as you're actively kind of promoting the fact that you are creating these vlogs and you've got interesting information, then you'll need a little bit of text to say, this is what this is about, this is what you'll learn, this is the benefit of watching it. The videos on websites, as long as they're embedded via a link and don't play automatically, because that will slow your website down. That's an SEO thing. And also your, it keeps people on your website. It's very good for your traction in Google as well, because people stay on it to watch it. But you still need a really good headline. Okay.
I've not put any text on, so that's really, really helpful. Thank you.
You'll need that because videos are as searchable as anything else, but there needs to be some text content for people to search on. So really good headline, a couple of paragraphs, just promoting it and saying, this is what this is about. This is who I am. This is what you'll learn. This is the benefit of watching this. You know.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. That's useful.
There's a question from Juliet. I'm not sure it's related to blogging, but hold on, where are you? You're down there.
Daily life Facebook posts. What about my daily life Facebook posts? Should I put these on my website?
Yeah, because they're not blogs, but they are, I suppose you could call them vlogs. You know, it's a Facebook Live. Does that come under the same kind of thing? Is that what Catherine was saying?
No, because I think Catherine creates videos and puts them on her website.
Right.
Okay, so that's obviously hosted through Catherine's YouTube or Vimeo or something, yeah? Yeah, something like that. Facebook Lives, I'm not sure about the technical aspects of that, Debbie. I don't know if you know. It's about whether you can...
I can save them and download them, and they're on my hard drive.
Okay, then yeah, in that case, yeah, if you're recording them and saving them, then absolutely you can then sort of embed them in your website, and then yeah, so put your headlines in, put your keywords in, put a little bit of commentary in. Yeah, absolutely, why not? I've never tried it myself, but you know, theoretically, I don't see why that wouldn't work. Yeah.
I have recorded this, Helen. Are you okay if I put it up onto YouTube and share?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. What I'll do, Debbie, is I'll send the presentation through to you as well as a PDF, so you can share it out with everybody as well. Because the all the